Welcome. This is a new live. Today I'm kind of spontaneously adding an exercise. It's gonna be, today's topic is guilt and guilt freedom. I often get questions regarding on how I understand guilt or how I understood it, and this is something so essential on a self-healing journey or on a migraine-free journey, achieving relief, achieving emotional independence, because emotional independence means we are aware of our feelings and we don't act up on them, meaning that we don't allow our feelings to trigger us into action. And opposite to this, we know how to work with our feelings, our emotions, something that arises, the energy that comes into motion. The energy that comes into motion is here for us to understand, for us to liberate ourselves, actually. But often we do the exact opposite. We let it drag us down, we let it start up a process of overthinking and of bad case scenarios, and why not. And there is where the limiting beliefs begin, or where they originate, or where we strengthen them, actually. So not acting in your pure essence, which means you are here, you are a being, you are free to do whatever you want and to achieve basically what you want, but in the aligned way, in order that, in a way that you will feel good about yourself while doing it, which means this itself limits you from, when I say do whatever you want, this itself, like we are very good at using our own guilt and punishing ourselves and entering into the cycle of self-punishment, basically, okay? And then I'm gonna try to explain how to work with guilt and how to become free of it and really understand it, because if we don't understand it, it keeps on pushing us down, it keeps on limiting us from what we want. And once I was saying, or the way Louise Hay in her books explains it, guilt isn't even real, and I understand this to be true. It's a construct of your mind. So that's a one layer, and it's okay if you aren't seeing it like this right now, but you need to kind of start understanding that there's always the villain and the victim, right? So unfortunately, we are both every time. These are the two polarities that we also have. We're always going to be in some situation the villain for someone and the victim for someone or for ourselves. Okay, this is again the perspective which we choose. We can choose. This is the choice. This is the freedom of choice. This is why we can keep going forward and reminding ourselves that everything in the core is neutral. Okay, so what I mean by villain and victim are the two polarities, because if we have been a victim in the past of a certain situation, we fear maybe the villain, but at the same time we punish ourselves even for being the victim. We can punish ourselves for being the victim and the villain. The same way the villain from that situation punishes themselves for being the victim and the villain. And we become the victim or the villain if guilt defines us. If we allow guilt to overpower us and we act upon that guilt. We make a reaction based on a guilt, which is a feeling inside us. And you must understand, again, I repeat this, that you are not what you feel. This is some energy that arises from past, your ancestor line, from your limiting beliefs. This is where the border comes. But if you are ready to now be aware that you're not your guilt, therefore not defining yourself and your action upon what you feel, then you can start working with it. And to realize this, that the guilt is here, it can be hard at first. The guilt has a good disguise, and it often comes in a way of like real certainty. And sometimes we can be so convinced of the guilt that it just comes and we're not even aware of it. And the first step is starting to observe when it arises, in which situation, what is happening, what was happening when you started feeling guilty. And you have to also become aware that you're feeling guilty. Because before, without realizing this, without noticing that we feel guilty, we cannot separate ourselves from that emotion and work with it, really. Okay, so this is the first step. And now I'm gonna come up with some examples, because this will help us to imagine it. One of the very, very common ways of noticing your guilt or realizing that it's here, based on the way our society has been raised, maybe this generation, maybe the future generation raised by emotionally independent human beings will have very different situation of guilt. But the way we have been raised and conditioned, that's how it was, that's the time that it was. But the way we have been conditioned brings us to situations or common situations where guilt arises is those where you want to do something for yourself. This is something that maybe is a new concept for you, stepping out and doing something really, really for yourself and taking the time and making space for yourself, doing something that's kind of even selfish. Okay, that's how we call it from a point of view of guilt. Because we can either view taking care of ourselves as self-love, which is neutral, is not selfish. Self-love means I am fully in my energy. I take care of my energy, therefore I act with patience. I act with love. I can choose love in every situation because I am. All my needs are satisfied. I am satisfied with who I am. Therefore, I do not need to act upon some lack. Always acting on some lack will then create those triggering situations over and over. Okay, me bursting out on someone, taking words that someone said personally, is where I am not satisfied, where my needs aren't satisfied. And so the example of guilt situations are, because we're only learning this is a new world, everything's changing or has already changed, and the opportunity, or there are so many tasks for us that are maybe required, or the tasks are only increasing. And finding the time or the courage even to say, okay, this is something I'm going to do only for myself. And whether it's going for a massage, going to exercise, going to just sit in a corner for an hour without disruption. And believe me, it is possible, no matter the circumstances, no matter how many kids you have, no matter whatever. And it is about the priorities, but the most important thing is what energy we use to perform these, because that's the most important difference. Is if I'm gonna do that action, let's say the massage, the exercise, the sitting in the corner, with guilt, if I'm gonna be there with guilt, with massive guilt that has been unprocessed, probably the result will be that I will start punishing myself. I can even create a disease of the body. I can create some uncomfortableness. I can create a migraine. I can create something. This is where the guilt arises, where the guilt accumulates. So this means I punish myself from taking that time. Or the second case scenario is doing it with the energy of being aware of my worth, of that I don't need to deserve a break. I have a right to have a break and space. I'm never alone. I'm supported by a community that supports me and my decisions. Therefore, when I do this, when I create this space for myself, whether it's the massage, the exercise, the sitting in the corner and just meditating or resting or something, and I do it with that processed guilt, and we're gonna talk about how to do this. This is the exercise about. When I do this with the processed guilt, this is where it gives me my energy back. My energy is being restored. So my needs are satisfied, that tiredness is addressed, or some stress is addressed, actually. Okay, so this is why when we take that space, that's just the first step, putting ourselves first or deciding, okay, I can do this, I'm gonna rest for 5 minutes a day. I'm gonna rest for 10 minutes a day. I'm gonna go for a massage once a week, once a month. I'm gonna go to exercise and have me time. But the difference, the significant difference, and also this is why, one of the reasons why we don't sometimes maintain something that we set ourselves up to, or we don't make it a daily habit, or we don't make it a new healthy habit, is the guilt behind it. And so today I'm trying to put together how to work with the guilt and how to become free of it. And we become free of it by first step being aware of it. So, for example, this comes to place very often when we talk about doing something for ourselves. This is the next step from deciding. I decide, okay, I want to do this for myself. I want to take this time for myself and just be there. But the second step is, okay, I have to communicate it to someone connected to that situation. But whenever there is guilt, because I have decided this, maybe my intuition has called me that I rest before I get into the, burnout. So I will rest before. So I have my reasons. Why I need it. My intuition is calling, okay? This is where we learned about intuition, how to listen to it. We always know what we need. We always know what we need. I'm going to repeat this. We always know what we need. This is an essential thing that we need to learn to listen to. This is the intuition. So I know what I need. I have decided I'm going to do this for myself for various reasons. I only need to give these reasons to myself, actually. Whenever I start giving the reasons to others is where I don't value myself. I'm not certain that what I need is relevant. This is what I need to convince myself of. No one else can do that for me. And whatever will be mirrored in that conversation where I am presenting this is the situation, this is what I need here. Okay, I'm giving it to you, whoever is in that situation. It can even be in our heads. It doesn't necessarily have to be a real person. But then the mirror comes back. This is whenever we try to explain ourselves, whenever we try to come up with reasons why we are allowed, basically, why we allow ourselves to do that, to have that space for ourselves, to have that rest. Okay, because whatever we need and don't have right now is only us not allowing ourselves to it. But to avoid those uncomfortable situations or prevent them with another person or even with yourself, because the guilt arises within you, and you need to understand that that the guilt is something that is only yours. It is within you, it arises with you, and it's only your feeling. The other person, whenever you're convinced that the other person thinks those things that you think, why you can't do that, why you don't deserve it, why you are not allowed to do this, to take that space for yourself. This is probably only in your head. This is the spiral of overthinking in your head, why you cannot do what you want to do. So this is the first step of realizing that whatever is coming up, that guilt, is yours. It's only yours to be worked with. And once you become aware of it, why is it here? You can start communicating with it. You can localize where in your body it concentrates. If you're dealing with migraines or chronic pain, you will have certain parts of your body where this energy concentrates, and it loves it because it's cold. It's basically cold. You are going outside of your comfort zone with deciding what you really want. You have probably decided this when you were connected to your intuition. And whenever something arises, that guilt arises, then it is saved somewhere in your body. Okay, this is the energy that's not in motion because it's an accumulation of limiting beliefs, of your energy inside of your body, and this is what creates the pain. This is the origin, one of the origins, one of the layers of pain. Okay, so we have realized that our guilt is ours. We have realized that our feelings are ours. This takes steps, takes some time maybe to observe it, to learn how to really observe it, that it is not me, first of all, and it is not in that person outside. We outsource it sometimes and we believe this is what the person is thinking. But everyone is only thinking about their point of view. So they are probably not even judging you. If you're judging yourself, or if you think they're judging you, you're judging yourself in how it should be. And you must realize, first, the intuition, what is it you want? What is it you need right now? And the second step is, the guilt is yours. And no one else will help you with this. No one else can actually resolve it for you. No one else can tell you. They will start telling you after you have resolved it within yourself. After you have come to terms to be okay with whatever. Resting, going to the gym, going for a massage, taking the space for yourself. This is what you need to learn, not someone else. The approval doesn't come from the outside. The approval comes from yourself to yourself. Once you're okay with it, and this comes with any big decision, let's say, not drinking alcohol, eating healthy, whatever new habits. Okay, the guilt can present itself, and it can present itself in terms of why not? Why can't I do this? So many reasons why not, why I don't deserve it, why I can't have it. But this is for nothing. This is a waste of your energy. Every time you're roller coastering in these overthinkings, you are only wasting that energy that you could spend on resting or be okay with yourself. Okay, so The guilt arises, it's here with us. We can start, once we become aware of it, we can start communicating with it. We can localize it in our body somewhere. We can breathe into it. We can ask it, where did it come from? And this is the step, this is the real exercise. Okay, so becoming aware of the guilt, it's here, step 1. Step 2 is, what does it look like? Where is it? Is it concentrated in my head? Is it a migraine arriving? These are the thin layers of migraine storage, basically. Okay, because we talk about migraine or any chronic pain, it doesn't come up suddenly from nowhere. It doesn't come up suddenly out of nowhere. It comes up in layers. It's like layer on top of layer. We build it up. Okay, migraine never occurs just like that without a reason. It comes with the patterns, where we feel bad, where we feel guilty, over and over again. We must stop the process or become aware of where we save this guilt, which then results in the coping mechanism, in the self-punishment package that results in pain or outbursts in our pain, or anxiety or depression or something like that. So we must become aware, hello, welcome, aware of that guilt. Where is it in our body? Where is it stored? And then we can start talking about it, talking with it, communicating with that energy stored somewhere within us, and breathe into it and change it, reform it. Okay, this is the action out of it. This is how I feel right now. I'm aware of it. I'm aware there are these guilty feelings. I feel guilty. Doesn't matter why. Sometimes I can even ask myself, and maybe it brings me back to my childhood or to some certain situation where this guilt originated. If I'm in that frequency, then it's okay. I can ask myself and I can understand it, but I don't even need to understand it. Okay, I feel guilty because in the past it wasn't safe for me to take space for myself, to do something like women going to the gym wasn't even a concept, or going to do self-care or going for a massage or taking that space for themselves. That wasn't even a concept. So, okay, if we feel guilty about it, about something that wasn't even a concept the generation before, of course, because it's something new. Again, our mind doesn't know it. So it starts building up walls of guilt, because that's the only way, because it's not safe. But if we decide, okay, this is what I want, what I need for myself, then the guilt arises is great, because it is our energy, it is our power again that arises and is stored somewhere in our body, and we need to allow it to flow again. We need to change it into relief from guilt, into why yes from why not. And this, only we can do this, only we can be okay with going for the massage, going to the gym, going to sit in the corner, doing nothing. We must become okay with the doing nothing in order for it to reflect outside of us, and then the magic happens, which means the ones around you come and invite you. Don't you want to come rest with me? Don't you want to take a break? Don't you want to go for a massage? Don't you want to go into the gym? But first, if I'm doing this always with the energy of guilt, so it's always good to process the guilt before going into that action, the action that I wanted. Of course, not always I'm going to be perfect at it, but processing that guilt, for example, before we go on that massage, before we go to that gym, because then we are carrying with ourselves and it's stored somewhere in our body, and it won't allow us to relax, because it will be in tension, in pain, instead of relief, instead of the openness. And it will be stored and maybe even supported, because if we're gonna go to have that massage, and the whole hour we're gonna be thinking about how we don't deserve this and how we don't deserve to be relaxed, etc., etc. We probably won't. Our muscles will probably be so tense. So you need to be aware that you decide how the things are gonna turn up and how you're gonna feel during that thing. So you need to practice being in the opposite polarity, in that relief, in, wow, what a great day, I deserve it, and I'm learning to deserve things, maybe. I'm learning to deserve rest day by day. I'm learning to allow myself to rest more, allow myself to do more of activities that I like, that I enjoy, that where I can take care of myself, where I can really unwind. Because if we don't practice this, then the mind and the body goes to the old habits, which was migraine, the coping mechanism. Of course, I have to punish myself for doing something for myself. Okay, this is you with a migraine. You without a migraine is, of course I deserve better. Of course I deserve more. Of course I deserve to relax. Of course I don't have to multitask because I was probably programmed to this with a belief that was my old belief. Today I choose a new one. Today I choose to work with that guilt, to become free of it. Because understanding that the guilt is only ours. It is not even concerning the other people that we strongly believe are involved in that situation. We strongly believe we must go over ourselves, over our needs, over our boundaries to satisfy someone else. And this is the place where we can change it. This is the place where we decide, okay, is this true? Is this really the truth for me? Is this guilt helping me? Is this guilt helping someone else? Is this guilt actually helping anyone? Because being aware of, okay, this is my guilt. It probably originates in somewhere where it was relevant. It was necessary for me to be guilty when, as a woman, maybe I was suppressed, or it wasn't safe for me to do something different, or I wasn't even allowed to do something different. Okay, this guilt is here with me now, but I can work with it. I can become aware of it, and I can transform it into the complete opposite, or whatever scenario I want it to be. But the first step again is realizing it's here with me. Guilt is here with me. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It feels uncomfortable at first, but when we realize, but I'm not that guilt, and where is it coming from? Okay, or related to money, or related to relationships, or related to any situation. Becoming aware of the guilt and then localizing it. Where is it? Where is it? Okay, is it accumulated in my head, and is it causing, or is it inviting the migraine actually? Is it tensing up? Am I tensing up? And also understanding what we see in that other person, because we're very good at reflecting what we think that other person thinks. We're sure we know what the other person thinks, or we sure we know what they're gonna think. Okay, so we can either reflect it into our mind of why not, why shouldn't I do this for myself? Even though until now I was leading to this moment, I was leading, this is gonna be that day, this is gonna be my day, and I'm gonna enjoy this so much. But at the moment of decision, okay, this is happening, and at the moment of presenting it or talking about it to someone else, then it might become, again, the guilt might arise, the guilt might repeat itself, the guilt might come again. And that's okay, because there are many layers of it, because we have been used to acting upon it. So that's why it's here to protect us. but you decide the scenario, how it's gonna result this time. I'm convinced what I want, what I need. This is what I need because, and you need to create and rewrite and say the new scenario to your mind. When I do this, everything is greater. The world is greater when I'm in my good energy, when I'm relaxed. I'm more patient as a person, as a girlfriend, as a mother, as a friend. This is why I'm doing it. I satisfy my needs first. The rule with migraines always. And then I act, then I give. Give to myself and then I give. This way I achieve a sustainable way, not in the burnouts, not with the low points, not with the outbursts of something that I after regret. So, not defending myself, but I know the lives haven't been so regular lately because I've been on a visit in Czech Republic and it's been hectic. But I think from the next week I'm gonna come back to the lives and be more regular when I'll be back in England. And yeah, but this was something very important, an important topic that I get asked a lot about, and that we need to really understand. It's okay if you act upon the guilt still, and if that guilt is always still there, that's okay. That's your starting point. But know that you can change this. Know that you can become free of the guilt. You really can. Have a lovely day, and I'll see you next time.